Hi there, so we've got Katnook's Estate Cabernet Sauvignon 2014 vintage to try right now. So Katnook Estate is based in the Coonawarra region of South Australia. So Coonawarra is a really famous region in the very southern part of South Australia. It's quite a cool climate region by Australian standards, being quite close to the sort of Southern Ocean, and it can have that sort of maritime influence, sort of akin to Bordeaux, I suppose. Cabernet Sauvignon is the king grape variety in this particular region, but the key thing that sort of marks Coonawarra out is what's known as its terra rossa soil, which is Latin for red earth. So if you ever see pictures of Coonawarra, if you're ever lucky enough to visit, and you get to that part of it, you'll see the earth is just this really vibrant red irony colour, and that's the soils which really influence the wines that come out of the particular region. Now, it is only a small strip of land that this particular style of soil is on. It only is about 25 kilometres long, quite a narrow strip, almost like a cigar shape, I suppose. And that's where all these wineries are based, and they take advantage of that particular soil. It's good for moisture retention in that sort of dry Australian climate as well. So Katnook Estate has quite a history actually. It was set up way back in the 19th century by a guy called John Riddoch, who was a pioneer of the wine industry in South Australia back at the time. He planted the first vines in that particular place, and his old sort of winery or woolshed or whatever you might class it as has been renovated and is the actual existing winery right now. So quite a nice connection to the past. So commercially, in the more recent past, I suppose, vines were replanted or on the particular site in the early 70s, and the first commercial vintage took place in about 1979, 1980, under the guidance of a legendary winemaker by South Australian standards, a guy called Wayne Stevens, who was at the helm of Katnook Estate right through from the very inception in 1980 or thereabouts until his unfortunate passing in 2007. He's made iconic wines such as the Katnook's Prodigy and its Odyssey wines, which are Shiraz and Cabernet Sauvignon based. But these wines would be the sort of mainstay. I suppose the estate wines would be the mainstay, the flagships of the winery, as opposed to the sort of special wines, I guess. So these are the ones that the winery's reputation is built on, I suppose you might think. And he's won some massive awards in the past for these wines too, like the Jimmy Watson Trophy a couple of times, which is one of the most iconic trophies in Australia to win as a winemaker. So he's been fortunate to win that twice. So these wines in particular had been off my radar for quite some time until about 2 or 3 years ago when I retasted them at a wine tasting event, and I was just blown away by them, particularly the Shiraz actually, which accounts for about 25% of its production. The Cabernet was a beautiful bottle of wine as well. I think it was 2009, 2010 vintage that I tasted. It was really impressive. That classic Coonawarra chocolate, mint, cassis, beautiful wines. So this is a more recent vintage, 2014, which has fairly come in. 2014 was a very late ripening vintage, sort of cooler climate, it's a cooler vintage, I suppose. So you'll tend to have wines from there with maybe a little bit less weight, but you should still have the nice aromatics of black currant and mint going on, which indeed you do with a bit of chocolate in there. So you get that sort of lovely mint chocolate sort of note coming on with that black currant leaf, or black currant sort of fruit, I suppose, sorry, not leaf, black currant fruit. Beautiful wine. It spends about 17 months in oak, fairly evenly split between French and American oak, although there's very little new oak in this here, so the oak is a sort of restrained background effect, I suppose, to help give the wine structure. Lovely, lovely mellow palate. The tannins are so fine in there as well. Say 14, this is 5 years old at this point. Lovely fine tannins, but it will really stand up to some really nice fillet of beef or something like that there. maybe blue cheese or something would work really well with as well. Classic example of Coonawarra Cabernet and why people around the world, I suppose, see it as one of the prime examples of Cabernet in the Southern Hemisphere. Is one of the prime regions to go for Cabernet Sauvignon in the Southern Hemisphere. They can age really well. This wine will age 10-15 years no problem, and you'll get really good enjoyment out of it without breaking the bank as well. It's 20, low 20s or thereabouts at this point, so it'll offer really interesting drinking over the next decade or so, no doubt. It's a lovely bottle of wine, say. It's Katnook's Estate Cabernet Sauvignon 2014. Lots of history to this estate, and you only get that history if you produce really good wines consistently year to year, and Katnook have been well renowned and known for that. So pick it up next time you're in, or when you're on the website, you're viewing it right now. I encourage you to buy it. So Katnook Estate Cabernet Sauvignon 2014. Remember, KWMWine.com. Please produce matters. Cheers.